there, my name is Lee and I'm a mom of 4 and a part-time reseller. I've made over $100,000 flipping used clothes on sites like eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. And in this video, I'm going to break down for you my exact routine that I do every week in order to bring in an extra $2,000 to $3,000 a month in just 10 hours of work a week. Hey, I'm Lee Meyer, and I'm the founder of Listing of Freedom and the Empowered Reseller. And I help clothing resellers make more money without hustling harder. Let's get started. So I'm so excited that you're here because this is one of the biggest questions that I get is how do I run my reselling business in so little time and how do I make so much money? And frankly, a lot of people are a little bit skeptical. So I want to outline for you in this video exactly what I do in order to make about $2,000 a month. That works out to about $500 a week. We're going to keep the math easy in this video. So here's what you can expect in this video. I'm gonna break down the math behind making $500 a week, and I'm gonna show you exactly what this looks like in my schedule throughout the week, how I source, how I list, how much time I'm spending on all of those pieces that goes into having a successful reselling business. But more importantly, I'm gonna give you the 4 steps that you need to take to replicate this for yourself. All right, so we're gonna start out with that math piece of making $500 a week and what this looks like for me and what it could look like for you. Now, there's a little bit that you need to know about my specific business. I do not sell big items. I sell all small things, primarily clothing. I am a clothing reseller by nature. I do sell a few other items, but 95% of what I sell is clothing. That's where I have made the majority of my money. Now, there's a few reasons for this. Some of the reasons are that clothing is very abundant. It's very easy to come by. It's usually very cheap to pick up. It does not take a huge investment to get started. It's also super easy to list, really easy to ship. It doesn't take up a lot of room for storage, and it sells. Everybody needs clothes, right? I also don't want to be meeting up with people on Facebook. That can be a little bit sketchy. It can also be a huge time waster when people don't show up when you've set your meeting time. I know this has probably happened to you. It has happened to me. And I don't want the hassle of dealing with bigger items. Maybe I can make a little bit more money per item. Maybe I can make a few $100s per item, but it is so much more hassle, so much more effort. And I just don't have the storage space for some of those bigger flips. And this is the reason why I have primarily decided to go with clothing for my business. This is the exact item that I have sold to make over $100,000 as a reseller. Now, one of the downsides with selling clothing is that the profit that you make per item tends to be a little bit less than some other items, but it does have a lot of pros going for it, as in it's, cheap to pick up. There's plenty of it out there. And so for me, what does $500 a week look like? Like, how many items do I need to sell per week in order to hit that $500 weekly goal? So for me to be able to make $500 per week, I estimate on the low end that I'm going to profit $10 per item. Now that $500, that's profit that I want to make. That's not just sales. The $100,000 that I've made, that is profit. That's money in my pocket. It's been more in sales. So I want to be clear on that we're looking at profit here. We're not looking at just revenue. I'm talking about what you get to take home, what you get to put in your pocket at the end of the day after all of those seller fees, after the money that you've spent on the items themselves. And so to profit $10 per item and you want to make $500 a week, if we do some quick math here, that works out to 50 items per week that you need to sell with a $10 profit to make $500. Now, I do want to point out that $10 is on the lower end. I do not live in a big city. I don't have access to huge name brands or luxury brands. And so these are just, kind of regular old everyday type of people clothes that I'm selling. If you've got access to better items, and occasionally I do come across items that I make $50 or $100 off of, then you're gonna need to sell less clothes in order to hit that $500 goal for the week, or maybe you make more that week. All right, so let's talk about my schedule in order to be able to list and sell approximately 50 items a week so I can hit my $500 weekly goal. You might be going, okay, that's a lot of items. I can never do that. I just don't have time for that. So for my schedule, because I'm a busy mom of 4, I manage a couple investment properties as well as I run listingtofreedom.com and the empoweredreseller.com. I've got other things on my plate. I've got kids' soccer games to go to and laundry and dishes and cooking and all of those things. I run my reselling business in just 10 hours a week. And I'm gonna break this all down for you on a task basis, on a daily basis, so you can see exactly where I'm spending my time to get those 50 items listed. Now, I do wanna say that if you are a brand new seller just starting out and you're listing those first few items, it will take you a long time to get just one item listed. I remember back in the beginning days, those first items that I listed, it probably took me 1 hour per item. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it took me forever to take pictures and it took me forever to create listings. And then I would go back and improve my pictures or try and improve my listings. And so there was a huge time investment just to get one item listed. So if you're brand new, I just want to say that things will speed up. By the way, if you are a new reseller, I'd like to invite you to grab my free course, Reseller Bootcamp. During this free 5-day course, I break down for you my exact framework and I show you the exact items that I'm selling and how I'm making those sales. The link to get that free course is in the description below this video. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what my schedule looks like on a daily and on a weekly basis. Now, this has changed over the years. I've been reselling for about 6 years, and during that time, I've had 2 babies. I've gone from 2 kids to now 4 kids. And so life has changed along the way. There's been different seasons, obviously, along the way, different seasons with a newborn versus, an older toddler. And so the time is going to fluctuate. The time of day that I work has fluctuated, but the amount of time has stayed relatively the same. I have never worked more than 10 hours in my week. I also never work on the weekends. I don't list, I don't open my computer, I don't take pictures. That's time for my family. That's the time that I like to take off. And that's just me. I know a lot of resellers out there are working, the Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 types of jobs. And so you need to be working on the weekends, or maybe you have to be working on the weekends. For me, I have just chosen right up front from the get-go that, hey, the weekends are for myself. I'm not going to be working on the weekends. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and break down exactly what my work week looks like. So 1 day a week, and when I say day, this is about 2 to 3 hours, I will go out, and that's when I do my sourcing. I do not source multiple days a week. I limit this to 1 day. Now, it hasn't always been this way when I used to live closer to the stores, but right now it's about a 30-minute drive, and I do not want to spend an hour round trip multiple days a week. So that is why I limit myself just to that one time frame, the 2 to 3 hours. And during that 2 to 3 hours, I am able to source the 50 items that I need to in order to hit my income goal for the week. If you're going, okay, where are you getting 50 items in 2 to 3 hours? I'm gonna let you in on my little secret, and that is the Goodwill outlet. If you have not been to a Goodwill outlet yet, it is one of my favorite places to visit because you can get a lot of items in a very, very short amount of time. If the Goodwill outlet's not your thing, your next best option, the next best thing that I have had luck with personally is garage sales. Now, when I do my sourcing day, that is the one thing I do for that day. I do not try and take photos. I don't try and get items listed. That's my one task. When it's done, it's done. Since I don't work on the weekends, that leaves me with 4 other weekdays in order to get my items listed. And so if we take those 50 items and divide it among 4 days, that works out to just over 12 items per day that I need to list for 4 days out of the week. Those 4 days when I'm working on my listings, what each day looks like is I spend approximately 20 to 30 minutes taking pictures of the items. So with 12 items per day. That's just about 2 to 3 minutes per item. Actually, 2.5 minutes if we're being exact here. Another 60 minutes goes into creating the listing, getting the measurements, and putting the item in storage. That kind of happens all in one process, all at the same time, and that works out to about 5 minutes per item. Again, if you're going, okay, that's really fast, that's not much time, it will come with experience. It just takes some practice. All right, so let's add up the math here. We've got 2 to 3 hours for sourcing, about 90 minutes per day for 4 days of the week. That's 6 hours. So we're at a grand total of 8 to 9 hours of work per week. So what do we have left? It's basically shipping, customer service, doing things like sending offers. And that makes up the remaining 1 to 2 hours of work a week. The majority of that remaining time is spent on the shipping portion of it, and this does vary per day. And some days I might sell a whole ton. Other days I might only sell a couple of items. And on those days I'm going, okay, thank goodness I can get a little breather here. I can catch my breath. And I'm actually thankful for those days when I don't have a ton of orders to ship out. They are few and far between. Now, what this 90 minutes looks like for me per day to create listings and get my listings up and out there has varied over the years. The schedule throughout the day has varied. I do like to put all of my effort, I like to do it all at once. And so I can do that either in the morning before the kids wake up or after they go to bed. With newer babies, that has not always worked out. My new babies, I don't know if yours are like this too, but they're catnappers and they only sleep a few minutes at a time. So during that first, few months of life, even year of life before they're really good sleepers, I have broken up my listing process into, multiple sessions throughout the day. So 20 minutes or 30 minutes here or there, rather than having, a 90-minute chunk of time, which you may not have, a 90-minute chunk of time in your schedule either. All right, so now I want to lay out for you the 4 steps that you need to complete if you want to be able to make this amount of money within just 10 hours per week. I'm going to lay out the steps for you here. And these are really important because it's not just about working harder. It's not just about putting in more time. And so by going through these steps, you're going to be able to define what is working for you and what's not working for you and where you should be spending your time. So the first thing that I want you to do, the first step that I want you to take is to actually go down and write down every single task that you complete each week for your reselling business, every single little task. And don't clump them together. Don't just say listing. What do you actually do to create that listing? Is it taking pictures, the taking measurements, the folding? Write down every little step that you're taking. If you're going to source and you're driving to source, you need to be writing down, okay, I'm driving, I'm spending, 30 minutes in the car or however long to get to my destination, or maybe you're going to several destinations. How much time, how many trips are you taking per week in order to go out and source items? If you're sourcing online, how much time are you spending? What does your work schedule look like for going and sourcing those items online? And I want you to write down every single task so you know exactly where your time is going. Once you've got your list completed, and this may take you a little while to be able to compile this for what you do each and every day. It may be a little bit overwhelming when you look at it all laid out because there are a lot of tasks. There's a lot of different steps that go into reselling. What I want you to do once you have your list complete is step 2, and that is to start eliminating unnecessary tasks. This is a very, very important step that you need to eliminate. Get rid of anything that is useless, that is not necessary, that is not making you money. I want you to be brutal with this. I want you to say, hey, is this task actually making me money in my business? If it's not, then you need to take the axe to it. This is the number one most important thing that you need to do if you want to make more money in less time. You cannot expect to work less without doing less, right? So I want you to be ruthless, be brutal, and start eliminating everything that is not absolutely necessary. Once you've eliminated all of those unnecessary tasks, all of those unnecessary things, Step 3 is to go in and see what you can automate and what things you can consolidate. Is there anything you can do to automate your business? Is there any software or tools that you could use to speed things up and make your life easier and simpler? Are there things that you can consolidate and do all at once, tasks that you could complete all at the same time? So for me, I hinted earlier at this, that I do create my listings, I take measurements, fold them and store them all at the same time. I'm not doing each task separately for each item. And for me, that works out better. For some people, it might mean taking all of your pictures for the week all at one time. And this is true, especially if you don't have a dedicated photo area. Consolidating and grouping similar tasks is going to save you minutes and hours of your time each week. Now that you've eliminated all of the unnecessary tasks and you've automated everything that you've streamlined your process to consolidate your different tasks, the fourth and final step is to concentrate your efforts on those tasks that are making you the most money. And I'll let you in on a little secret, or maybe not so secret thing, that the one task that should be your primary focus if you want to make more money is getting new listings up and out into the world. So I'd love to know in the comments below which step of this process you feel like you're missing, which is the next step that you need to take in order to make more money in your business in less time. Let me know in the comments below. And again, I'd like to extend one last invitation for my free reseller bootcamp, where I break down my whole entire framework of how I've made over $100,000 selling used goods. The link for that course is in the description below this video. Thanks so much for watching, and see you soon.